and you guys will be there too. When I finally do what frozen things do in summer.
I'm gonna tell him.
Don't you dare.
In summer.
I am going to go ahead and tell you guys it's not summer yet. So let's start on our 8.8 notes. And to get started on the 8.8 notes, I'm going to reference a comedian, my favorite comedian. His name is Dimitri Martin. And in one of his skits, he talks about how he would like to make a revolving door that says pull on it, just to see what people would do. And basically that's going to lead into section 8.8 because it's kind of like the distributive property but backwards. So we're going to put the word pull on a revolving door. Here we go. Okay, the big idea for group factoring. When factoring a polynomial with 4 terms, we can, at times, use group factoring for the form ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d if the ratio of a over b is equal to the ratio of c over d. This method will work. So here's the steps. First, group the 2 terms and the last 2 terms. Factor out the greatest common factor from each pair. If the remaining terms are the same, you can combine them. And then you're going to check if either binomial can be factored further. Okay, I accidentally used a little bit of red there. I think you guys get the gist of what I'm doing though. So I'm going to group the first set of numbers together, and I'm going to group the last set of numbers together, and then I'm going to get the greatest common factor out of each of those. I can see pretty quickly that 4r squared comes out of 20r to the third and 8r to the second. So we're going to go ahead and factor that. We're going to get 5r plus 2. And then over here we can see that 3 comes out of both of these, 15r plus 6. So we're going to get a 3 there. And we're going to get a 5r plus 2. Hey, would you look at that? This section and this section are equal to each other. So we have just figured out how to go backwards from the distributive property. So we're going to combine 4r squared with 3 inside of parentheses, and then we're going to put that multiplied by 5r plus 2, and we're done with number 1. Okay, here we go for number 2. We're going to draw parentheses around the first set of numbers and the second set of numbers. There's a 2 there. So the first number I can tell that comes out evenly out of the first 2, or the greatest common factor, is going to be 7x squared. When we do that, we're going to end up with an x minus 2 inside of the parentheses here. On the second set of numbers, I can see that 11 comes out pretty well. So that's going to leave us with x minus 2 inside of the parentheses. And again, we're using the distributive property backwards here. So we're going to combine 7x squared and 11, and we're going to put parentheses around that. That's going to be multiplied by x minus 2. And we're done with number 2. Okay, so for number 3, I noticed that we have a couple of negatives here, so I want to make sure that I get my signs right. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to think about my parentheses in this placement right here. Okay, that didn't look very good. Let's fix that. Okay, so that's where I'm going to put my parentheses, and I'm actually going to slow down on my steps, and I'm going to just factor the first portion here. So to factor the first portion, we're going to use 4a to the third, and we're going to get a 3a plus 4 inside of parentheses there. And then I'm going to put a positive sign in between these, and keep everything that's in that second set of parentheses. This is just the way that I like to do this, so that way I don't mess up the signs that I put in front of my coefficients. This is going to help me because all I'm going to do now is just write this left-hand side. Okay. And then we're going to factor out a negative 5a. When we do that, that's how we're going to get, we're going to change these both back to positive, and then we're going to still end up with the same thing that's inside of the parentheses over there on the left. 3a plus 4. Then we are going to use the distributive property, but backwards. So we end up with 4a to the third minus 5a multiplied by 3a plus 4. Now on this one we're not done. We have a step 4 of our steps says that we have to check if either binomial can be factored further. On this one we can factor an a out of this. So we need to factor that a little bit further. So we still have a 4a squared minus 5 inside of that set of parentheses. This set of parentheses we don't need to mess with. So it stays the same. And now we're done with number 3. Okay, on number 4, we're going to do this set. And then I'm also going to put my parentheses right there. I just want to make sure I don't mess up the sign that I put in front of my coefficient. So we're going to factor out an x squared over here. That's going to give us x minus 6, and then we're going to add everything underneath, or everything inside of this set of parentheses. Okay. So I'm going to set up my left-hand side, and then we're going to factor out, in this particular case, a negative 9. So that's going to give us an x minus 6, which is the same thing we have in this set of parentheses over here. I just like to do it that way. Some of you may decide to skip this step that I'm doing. That's fine. I like to do it so that I don't mess up my signs, but I think you guys get the idea. The distributive property backwards, x squared minus 9 and x minus 6 is our answer. Okay, number 5, here we go. Let's draw our set of parentheses. Like so. This first set of numbers I want to factor out an x squared. So that's going to leave me with x plus y. This second set I'm going to factor out a y squared. And that's going to leave me with an x plus y. So, distributive property backwards. X squared plus y squared. And we're going to multiply that by x plus y. Folks, that is the end of your notes for section 8.8. When you get to class and I ask you to see your notes, I want you to reference the joke that I said at the beginning of this set of notes, because that is how I'm going to know you watched all the way to the end. And so if you don't remember, I was talking about the revolving door that said pull on it.
Just imagine how much cooler I'll be in summer. Da-da, da-do, ah, ba-ba-ba-ba-boom.